As Rachel indicated, I'm not quite your typical presenter at this event. If you were to read my bio, you would get a bit of a sense of my academic and my employment history, but you would know absolutely nothing about me. So without spending any time telling you too much about that, you can Google my name and you'll get pages of what I actually do. But as Rachel indicated, I am a playwright and I'm a performance artist. I do aerial dance, I climb silks. If the ceiling was 20 feet high, I would show you what I could do, but I can't do anything here. And I'm also a filmmaker, and it is my artistic pursuits really that led me to this organization. I am not the founder or the leader of this organization. I am one of 800 volunteers that have joined this organization across Canada. This organization was begun by a woman in Calgary named Janice Eisenhower in 1996. She was responding to news reports that were coming to Canada from a journalist named Sally Armstrong, who was talking about the treatment of girls and women under the Taliban, really the harsh treatment of all people under the Taliban, but how women were especially affected. And she took it upon herself to ask the question, what can I do as an individual? So while I truly appreciate what organizations, NGOs, large ones and small ones, and governments are doing to help people around the world and to improve the lives of their own citizens, what I'm here to really speak to you about is what you can do as an individual. You can always give money to large NGOs, but there is also a place for you in joining smaller NGOs, grassroots organizations that are trying to make a difference for individuals in another country. So we see ourselves as partners of the women of Afghanistan, even though we have largely never met them. So everybody in the organization has their own reason for belonging. My own reasons came out of a project that I did in 2010. The Armed Forces in Canada puts out a call every couple of years for artists that they invite to submit proposals on which they will create art based on military concerns. Now, once an artist is selected to participate in this program, in no way is the art we produce used as propaganda. We are not censored or told what we can see or what we can say in any way. Traditionally, this program has been for visual artists. I was the first playwright to apply and be accepted to this program. And my proposal was that I wanted to speak with soldiers and their families before, during, and after their deployments in Afghanistan. And that is what I did. And then I created work based on the experiences that I had. And I've written a screenplay, I've made a short film. The full length hasn't been made yet. It costs a lot of money, funding pending. And I've also written plays. And one of the plays that I read that has been used as a fundraiser for this organization is called Cry After Midnight. And it is 3 intersecting monologues. It is the story of a Canadian woman who's waiting for her husband to return from his deployment, fighting in a world that she does not understand. The second character is a doctor, a surgeon, part of the military endeavors in Afghanistan, but somebody who joined the military before 9/11. Now that character is in no way based on my child, but I do have a daughter who joined the military 2 months before 9/11. You can imagine the impact that had. First, as Rachel said, I come from a Mennonite background, which is pacifist. And that is an extremely important tenet of that faith. However, my daughter really wanted to fly, and she wanted to fly very fast. And the most economical and expedient way of getting to that goal was to join the military, and that's why she joined. 2 months later, 9/11 happened. In 2011, as a fully trained pilot, she was deployed to Afghanistan. But I was actually there as a war artist 1 year before she was there. She was there as a Chinook pilot. But when I was there and came home, what I saw and what I experienced and what I then started to research really resonated with me, and I was looking for an outlet for that. And Canadian Women for Women in Afghanistan provided that for me. We divide our programs into 3 components. The first one is teacher training. In 2001, there were about 100,000 young girls in Afghanistan that were being taught in clandestine operations, in-home secret schools. Now there are over 3 million, but even at that, it only represents about half of the girls in Afghanistan. The rest simply don't have access to any classroom yet. So teacher training we see is something very important. Of the 170,000 teachers that are working in Afghanistan, 68% or so of them have never been in a school past their own high school. Some of them have not even completed high school. So the need for teacher training is enormous. And so we've been doing that specifically with programming since 2008, where we have 1 month-long programs. So they are units for secondary teachers. And so a science teacher, for example, would typically take 3 units, one in chemistry, physics, and biology. And on completion of the programs that we have to offer, they are then certified by the Ministry of Education there, which bumps their salary up to an enormous degree, so we're helping their families economically. But more importantly, it is also affecting the teaching that they do. We provide science kits along with the training, for example, and instructions on how to use them. And we use a very hands-on, student-centered approach rather than the rote learning that they would have been accustomed to. So they report the benefits to their classrooms as being enormous because it has fundamentally changed their teaching style. Along with these training programs, we also have started some peer support committees so that they don't feel isolated or alone once they've had our training. And they also have best practices competitions, which have proved to be very, very popular, where they are able to share ideas and gain more insight into their teaching methodologies. Now, this is very important to us and something that we are committed to. Since 2008, we have provided training for 5,000 teachers, but we have commitments for many more. And we are making sure that at least half of the people that we are training are women. So we are also providing training for male teachers. We see the need right across the board. And the individual impact is really huge. I'll give you one example. There is a school that we work with that has classroom sizes of between 40 and 45 students. And they operate these classes in 4 shifts a day. The need is so great that they can't accommodate all of their students at once. And so in 4 shifts a day, their total school population equals over 9,300 students. That's the scale of the impact that we are able to have. Now, our training doesn't stop there, although it is a very good start. We also have home-based literacy programs for women. Why women? Well, that is our mandate. We are women helping women. But more importantly, we see educating women as a way to change the entire society. Once a woman is educated, the influence she has on her family will benefit generations to come. Women who can read will read to their children. They will encourage their daughters to go to school. And so we can change the educational landscape of the entire country in that way. So we're working in 5 different rural provinces of Afghanistan with home-based literacy programs. Now, we make sure that these literacy programs are very much alive. We are not offering textbooks and teaching them how to read by rote. We are offering them material that is going to be of benefit for them. So they are learning life skills, they're learning about health, they're learning about subjects that have real relevance to their own lives and will have an impact on them and their communities. We are also offering this along with community libraries. We have put many mini libraries into the hands of communities. Whenever we do so, we always make sure that there is community involvement and community buy-in. And as a result of that, we've had very few issues with security. Now, these libraries then become accessible to the entire community. They provide the space so they feel ownership of the program and of the library, and books are able to be taken out by families. Because what we are also finding in the literature is that literacy needs to be a lifelong endeavor. In Afghanistan, even when little girls do have the opportunity to go to school, the dropout rate is enormous. We find that by high school, the males are outnumbering females more than 2 to 1. And so very often the girls that were literate, were taught to read when they were young, have forgotten those skills and don't have any occasion to use them. One startling story that was told to us was by a woman who was in one of our literacy programs who said one day when she needed to start her fire, she was looking around her home for some paper that she could begin the fire with. So she grabbed what she could find and she burnt it, only to find out later that what she had burnt was her husband's driver's license. And she was feeling very badly that she hadn't known that that is what the paper contained. So literacy for women is that fundamental and that important. So we also see these programs as being able to provide women with a room to call their own, a space that they can go to where they meet other women and feel safe in an area that is outside of their own homes. They have very opportunity to leave their own homes at any time. So this is one place where they can have a peer group with peer support as well as learning very important skills. Now, we have to date trained over 1,000 women in literacy skills. And one of the important aspects of this is that we encourage them all to fill out personal learning plans. So of the 1,000 and a few people that have gone through it, 863 of them have filled out these plans, and we now have 20% of these women that have gone on to other formal education, either to public schools, vocational training, or to more advanced literacy programs. So that's a very important outcome for us. Because the literacy rates in Afghanistan, according to some UNICEF 2012 statistics, would indicate that only 20% of young adult women are literate. And in rural areas, that number is 3 to 5 times higher. So that is some of what we are trying to do to ameliorate those problems. One other aspect is that we also provide funding for community schools. We have teachers that we are actually supporting with salaries, so our fundraising efforts will also go to that. And we also have orphanages for girls. There are 2 orphanages that we support. They are community schools during the day for boys and girls, but 32 young girls to the age of about 16 will also be living there on a permanent basis. Now, as I said originally, we all have our own reasons for getting involved, but for me, this organization provides a way of me helping to change the world. As one individual, I can certainly join activist groups that are standing up to power, that are speaking against inequities and fighting for causes, but how do I make a real personal, tangible difference? I feel that if I target my efforts and pinpoint them very succinctly, that I can make a difference to at least some people in the world. And that is why I've joined Canadian Women for Women of Afghanistan. If you're interested in that project, we do have a website, and of course we always accept donations. So thank you for your time.